Okay, fellas, how are you doing today? How are you doing today? I'm doing great. It's a beautiful day. Thank you very much for stopping. I appreciate you. You know, this is our place, our space where we talk about the motherland. Your first time, my name is Zack. Before we get started, can I please ask you to do this? Let's all do this. It costs you nothing. We feel appreciated. It's done. Thank you very much. Now, today we're going to go through Africa very, very quickly about a couple of subjects to see what's happening in the continent. And I think it's very interesting. Thank you. I know you like my glasses. Thank you. I like them too. I look good. I look good, man. You see that? Looking good ain't just a woman thing. Man's got to look good, you know? You know, I see many men talk about women and say, oh, she doesn't look good. She lets herself go. My brother, when last did you upkeep yourself? Like, new perfume, new glasses. You gotta look good, man. It goes both ways. You know, your hygiene is important. You gotta make sure that you shower before you go to bed. And now she ain't going, don't know, my brother. How do you smell over there? Do you smell like a pork? Anyway, let's get back on track. Thank you very much. Now, the US has revoked visas for foreign nationals, including one South African national. Okay, I know a lot of things happening right now. South African national's visa has been revoked over a social media post. What was he saying? He was making a joke about this man, Charlie Kirk. You heard of Charlie Kirk, okay? So this man from South Africa on October 14th, 2025, he made a comment online saying something along the line that Charlie Kirk, you know, white nationalist trailer trash. You know, he mocked him, saying that American grief over the incident was absolutely nothing. So he didn't say exactly that, but we're going to check and find out. So a South African man named Nota Baloyi made a social media post about Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk is an American conservative. He's passed away now. He's made very strong comments about black people, Charlie Kirk. He's said a couple of times that black people were not as talented, not as smart as white people. You know, when they were questioning him, I mean, sometimes he did debate people in the street. He said some very hard things, you know, and very difficult. So Charlie Kirk's rhetoric comes along the line that the reason why black people are not as smart is because most black people have no father figures at home.
And I look as an outsider, albeit, at current black culture, right? From the athletes to the rap music to the music, I don't see the nuclear family elevated, nor is it an internal black cultural expectation. Now, I will ask some of the white individuals here in this audience, okay? If you guys got pregnant and all of a sudden you didn't even know who the father was around, how would your parents react? Not great, right? Yes? Unfortunately, in black America, this is kind of accepted. Would you agree?
I can't say. I grew up around a lot of white people, so I can't say.
All right, okay. Well, so, but it is a fact that it is accepted, right? So that's the problem. The problem is that it's a cultural norm that has then turned into the cycle of poverty. The cycle of poverty can break very quickly if fathers stayed with the women they impregnate.
But most of these fathers aren't just leaving. A large majority of these fathers are ending up in prison. Like, this is
good point. Why do you go to prison?
Because you commit crimes, but
because
the prison system has been targeted against minorities.
Again, we're not going to agree here,
right,
and that's okay.
Yeah,
there's actually under enforcement of the laws when it comes where there's, for example, only half of murders in Chicago get solved.
Right, but are they all black people though?
Almost all of them, yeah. Like 80,
well,
80.
If they're not solved, how do we know that they're black people?
Well, because it's a black victim in a black neighborhood by a black.
So if you have no father figure, you definitely cannot compete with a person who has had his father every single day because of the implication. So, you know, I mean, it's a very sensitive subject, been taken out of multiple contexts and stuff like that. Some people really like him. Some people really hated Charlie Kirk. And the South African, young man, Nota Baloyi, born in 1990, as per the record we have here, made a very strong comment. Now, he reportedly called Kirk a white nationalist, trailer trash, and mocked American grief over the incident. So the guy basically said that's why are Americans crying over Charlie Kirk. He wasn't a nice person, you know. I'm trying to find what he said exactly on Twitter. So it's very hard to find what he said on Twitter, but he was very straightforward. Like, don't play, don't act victim. This guy wasn't a nice person and stuff like that. And obviously, the American embassy picked on that. They were not very happy about that, and they revoked his visa. So apparently, he had a visa, current. I believe South Africans get a visa to the United States of America between 1 to 10 years at the time. So he had a valid visa, and the visa revocation is a part of a broader crackdown under President Donald Trump, who has vowed to tighten immigration rules for individuals expressing anti-American sentiment. So if you say anything that sounds anti-American, you are going to see your visa revoked, if not barred completely from going to the United States of America. Now, Baloyi later deleted the tweet and issued a public apology, calling his remark ill-timed and insensitive. He stated, he tagged the US Secretary Marco Rubio, and his apology expressed regret to the tone of his post. So he apologized, said, I'm sorry, it wasn't the right time to say what I said, but I still stand ground, he said it was insensitive. Well, how do you feel about that? How do you feel about that? Do you really think he means his apology, or do you think he regrets more the visa being revoked and the possibility of not going back to the United States of America anytime soon? I mean, just remember that Trump is in power for another couple of years. So if you have family in America, or you've been to America, you want to go to America again, you're probably going to have issues doing that. Not to say that he needs to go to America or that matter. But do you think it was a genuine apology? He sat down and realized that, what? After all, Charlie Kirk, he said a lot of things that are not necessarily nice to hear, but he's still a human being. I mean, do you still kick somebody on the ground when he's dead? Like, I don't know. Some people think it's worth it. If for them you were not a nice person, they're going to follow up. They're going to punch you while you're dead, kick you in the stomach, just remind you how not invulnerable you are. I mean, all these things you said. I mean, many people don't like Charlie Kirk because of his stance, in Palestine and stuff. Some people made comments. There was a lot of comment about these guys. You need to find out about him if you haven't. Go check Charlie Kirk. I mean, some people say that he was unalived, not by a stranger. They say he was unalived by, organized group of people that were motivated by the country you don't name. That's what they say. The country you don't name got him unalived. Why? Apparently because he started questioning all the help, all the money, all the funding, all the sponsorship, all the weapons the United States of America sent to the country you don't name. And apparently he was called for a meeting as per Candice, I forgot that lovely lady's name. Called to the country you don't name to have a meeting, and he refused $50 million. I mean, these are all speculation. We're not 100% sure. Do you think this is truth or not? Anyway, so there are people that say that converted, and some people that hated him, that changed their views because they feel like as time went, he started changing stances. And there are people that still wanted to kick him out after he died. Do you think that he's kicking him after he's dead? And it doesn't matter, you need to stand by what you said, whether you're alive or not. If you hated black people and you didn't like them, you should be accountable. Do you think he hated black people, or do you think he really wanted good things about it? Let me know how you feel about that. So this is interesting because it shows you that the United States of America is not playing. They say they were going to follow through with what you write on social media. They are doing so. Okay? So the rule has changed. Basically, if you're looking for a visa to the US, you have to have your social media account public. They need to go through your social media, see what you talk about. What are the things what is your stance toward the United States of America's foreign policy? What is your stance toward the United States of America's foreign policy? It's very important. Are you criticizing them? Are you pointing finger at Trump? Are you perceived as anti-American? So glorifying anything that harms Americans is not supported. You're going to get your visa revoked or refused. That's what it is. So if you want to go to America, you better pay attention. Okay, we are moving to the very next thing. Fellas, if you notice, there are some shops, some supermarkets where you find fruit. You can keep it at your house after 2, 3, 4 days. They still look good, right? They still feel good. They still feel fresh. As compared to other supermarkets where if you have your stuff in there, for a little bit, after a day, it's gone. It's gone south. You don't like it anymore, right? Have you experienced that? Have you experienced a supermarket where you get your fruit from? When you look at the fruit after 3 days, it still looks good and fresh. And other supermarkets, when you get the fruit from, after 2-3 days, it starts looking weird. Which one do you prefer? Which one do you prefer? And I know most people prefer the one that still looks good after 2-3 days. I actually saw somebody saying that, oh, that supermarket does a tremendous job because, their fruit still looks good after 2-3 days. Now, it looks like things that are natural tend to rot fast. Okay, I know. We all want to save money. You want to have longer shelf time to consume what you bought, right? But natural things tend to rot if you don't eat them. Unnatural things, in this case, tend to stay longer. Now, there's something that nobody's talking about. There's something called appeal. Okay, I don't know if you've bought cucumber lately. Buy cucumber. Look at it very carefully. You see there's like a layer, like a coating. It looks like plastic on top of it. Look at your cucumber, especially. I mean, it's not just cucumber. Many other fruit, like avocado, but mostly cucumber. It's very easier to see. You look at it very carefully. You see it looks like there's a bit of a coating, like a layer of a shiny something, but you can't rub it off. You can't scratch it off. So this is the technology that the man with the computer is invested into. It's a new technology which will basically, seal the fruit from exerting anything else or absorbing any bacteria so that it lasts longer. Okay, and this thing composed of many, many chemicals, including beeswax, shellac, paraffin wax, which is made of petroleum and is flammable. Okay, and there are ways to get it out, which is not very easy. I think there's a video here which I would like you to go watch. Go check this guy. I think we're gonna put a link on the description. Go check and listen to what this man has to say. I think nobody will say it better than him. I can try to do it as good as him, but I don't think I can. He explains on how you go about this. So basically, you need to remove the coating of that thing because it's dangerous. It's cancerous. It brings many, many situations. Don't forget, somebody said once in the time that there's way too many human beings on Earth, okay? And we are basically asphyxiating the atmosphere. There should be less people. Let me not get into that. Anyway, the European Union. Okay, the European Union has partnered with World Health Organization to sponsor Africans in the health sector. So the Europeans want to help Africans in the health sector. So what do they want to do? They want, number one, to expand access to electronic health record. It's called EHRS. Basically, they want to create record for patients in clinics to securely store, share medical record and data. What does that mean? So if you HIV positive in Uganda, in South Africa, they will know you HIV positive by the time you get to the hospital because you have a headache. If you got hepatitis in Uganda, by the time you go to Malawi and you want to get medication for your stomach, they know you have hepatitis. So your record is not private anymore. Well, they will tell you need to be okay because it's just medical people that know about it. But your record is not private. Finish. They're going to sponsor Africa with that. Now they want to build number two, build certification network. Build certification networks to allow health workers to verify credential and training digitally. Or to build a certification network to allow health workers from Ghana to go work in Nigeria without having to verify in the longest processes. Meaning, by the time you leave Ghana and go to Nigeria and you want to operate and work, they can verify you immediately through the system in Nigeria. Same for Namibia. So it's like one everybody record. So they're saying that many African countries lack reliable paper-based system and centralized health record. You don't have paper-based record and centralized health record for Africans. Why do you want all Africans to have one central, paper-based health record? I mean, Africans can barely communicate with each other and have visa-free, a tendency. We don't even visit each other yet, but you already want us to be one in terms of health record? I don't know. What's being hidden there? What's the plan? That they're trying to collect people's health data from Africa, put it in one database, and make it sound like you can go to Uganda and Kenya easily. They will treat you. You don't need to do blood tests. They already know Is that the benefit we're getting? Another thing they're doing, they're trying to sponsor African scientists in doing African things. So, when you bring something that perceived negative, you need to bring something that perceived very positive to counter the, you know what I'm saying? So what they want to do is they want to finance scientists from Africa to do research for Africans. Now, I think this is very interesting. This man, Professor Tumbi Ndugu, okay, is a Kenyan scientist, a leading groundbreaking HIV cure trial in KwaZulu-Natal. This man was born in Kenya, lives in South Africa for many, many years. He studied in many places in the world. He is a professor, a specialist in HIV, and he's been doing studies on HIV on many multiple patients. Where? In South Africa. Here, look at the map. In KZN, KwaZulu-Natal. Why? Because KwaZulu-Natal is probably South Africa's, province with the most HIV cases. So you have multiple HIV cases, and he's been doing some tremendous work, finding, techniques and strategies where he applied on many patients that remained about 18-month HIV free, or maybe, let me put it this way, 18-month ARV free. So in 18 months, they did not take any ARVs, okay? And they were fine. The viral load remained below detectable through to this gay Kenyan professor based in South Africa. It's amazing. There's many lessons to learn from it. An African man can do great things. Number two, an African man from a foreign country can do great things in a foreign country if there's love and support. So the Kenyan brain in South Africa technology have done great things. So there are many lessons, like I say again. Now, unfortunately, many things happened of that study, okay? Because they had paused it or something. I think the study was paused because there was very fast good results coming out of that. Why would you pause a study where results are coming very fast? Unless somebody's losing money. You know what I'm saying? So that's crazy. Now, who sponsors this man? Apparently, he's sponsored by Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. They provided the strategic funding for the immunotherapy research and infrastructure development. There is also a UK-based company, biomedical research charity, that sponsors him. And KwaZulu-Natal something, which is South Africa. Now, the biggest donors stopped giving money. For what? Question mark. Because the man was doing a tremendous job. He was doing a great job and things were changing. Why did you stop him? Now, will this European thing help him continue to do good things for Africans? I don't know. That's what it is, fellas. The United States of America has revoked visa for several foreign nationals, including at least one South African, over a social media post. This is very clear. Now America is looking at you properly. So if you say something that is not American, my brother, you're probably getting no visa to the United States of America. So be very careful. Number two, appeal. That thing on the fruit. It's shiny. You better be very careful. It's nice to have fruit that lasts longer, but yeah, it's better to have fruit that actually fruit. Let me know how you feel about this. It was a great pleasure. God bless.